Good morning. It's about 5:45. I'm about to head out to the pool. I have no idea how this day is gonna go. I'm a little nervous, a little excited. Um, we'll see. So it's just after 11 a.m. I stopped in a park to use a porta potty and refill my water bottles. I've been 32 kilometers on my bike so far after the 4 kilometer swim this morning. Feeling good. Here we go. So I'm like 60 something kilometers into my bike ride, and most of the route that I planned for this day are areas and roads that I've ridden a lot before, but I'm about to hit a section that is new, so I'm hoping there's not any surprises with terrain or amounts of traffic or any of that. Definitely feeling a little bit sluggish at this point, but yeah, it's gotten a lot overcast as well. So we'll see how far we end up going today.
Future Sarah here with a little commentary. I do, of course, research my routes before I go for elevation change and types of terrain, but the app doesn't necessarily know if a gravel road is going to be compacted and easy to ride on, or if it's going to be big, bulky gravel that's hard to ride on. And for example, on this trip, I came upon part of the trail that got really wet and muddy. It definitely got stuck a couple times. Never fell exactly, but did have to put my feet down in some deep sticky mud several times, and ended up riding through some deep puddles that were deep enough that my feet would go down into the water as I was pedaling. Um, so I had wet and muddy shoes for the last 100 or so kilometers of my ride, which was not great, but at least it wasn't cold. So that was all right, but definitely slowed me down a little.
Hi, so it is just after 6 p.m., right at 12 hours from when I kicked off at the pool this morning, and I'm definitely not as far as I was hoping to be by this time, but feeling pretty good, still pressing on. Of course, have my fancy reflective clothing and lights on my bike and stuff. So we're gonna keep going and see where we end up. Good morning. It's 6:30 a.m. So about just good morning. It's 6:30 a.m. So slightly longer than 24 hours since I started yesterday in the pool. I just got 3 hours of sleep and now I'm up and walking again. So here we go. So it is 10:30 a.m. on day 2, and I'm halfway through the mileage of the run walk section. Yes, still going and still going. So I'm down to the last 10 kilometers. Excited about that. Definitely body is ready to be done, but looking forward to pressing on and actually getting it done. So it's about 20 minutes before 6 in the evening on day 2, and I have 0.6 kilometers remaining. I am meeting some friends at the playground here and planning to rack up that last half a kilometer chasing after their toddlers. So add a little fun to the end of my day and then be officially done and complete just under 36 hours for what I started, which I know is ridiculous if you actually know triathlons, but I'm gonna count it as a win anyways. Done.
I want to apologize for the shakiness of the upcoming clips. Obviously, I'm not set up with good equipment to record while riding, but hopefully you can still enjoy a glimpse of some of the places I rode. Somewhere in the middle of my walk, I started thinking, this is one of the craziest things I've ever done. And if you know me, you know that that's saying a lot because I tend to do some pretty crazy stuff. It wasn't so much crazy that I decided to do it, but that I decided to do it in this timing without any training. I've wanted to get back into triathlons ever since I did my first several in 2011. At that time, I did a half Ironman and wondered if maybe someday I might attempt the full Ironman distance. This year, I've done a lot of biking and other general workouts and started thinking about maybe working towards another triathlon, probably another half Ironman distance, probably in several months or sometime next year. During this weird year, I've seen friends post about virtual 5Ks and organized events that you do mostly on your own, but with a little bit of community. So I started to look for similar options for triathlons that would seem slightly more real than just randomly going out and doing it by myself. I ran across this Hawaii from home option. It was a full Ironman distance, but they gave you a week to complete it so you could break it up into different segments and days. This sounded doable. Even though it was only 1 week away, much sooner than I was anticipating embarking on a triathlon, I decided to give it a go. And although I could have spread it out across the week, I knew I had to try it continuously. My original goal was to finish in 24 hours of clock time. And for those of you that are confused by clock time versus moving time, obviously moving time is any time that I was actively moving. So when I was on my bike, the app would stop the clock anytime I stopped, even for a minute to check the map or grab a different snack, or even at a traffic light. If the bike was not moving, that clock was not going. So my moving time was active pedaling time, whereas clock time is the actual like overall time that passed on the clock while the event was going. My swim came in 1 minute faster than expected, but after that, my estimates weren't so great. On my bike route, in addition to the mud and puddles, I had several sections where the trails got sandy, which makes riding tough. And since I was out longer than expected, I had to do more of the route in the dark, which also slowed me down some. As for the running, well, walking, I don't even remember the last time I actually walked for exercise, and even daily life walking has been limited since everything in normal life has been canceled. So that ended up slower than I thought to. Once I realized that I wasn't going to come close to my 24-hour goal, I decided to add in some hours for sleep and just try to enjoy the scenery and experience and not think too much about the timing. So to sum up, with no specific training, I embarked on this crazy endurance event. My motto, simply keep going. And it was a little crazy, but I did keep going and I did it, and I'm so glad I did.